All right, what's up, fellas? Time for Wake Up Mintzy, the only morning show that starts at 4 p.m. in the true name and semblance of Barstool. Does it make any sense? No. But does anything make any sense up here? Probably not. Joined, fun day here because this has been a long time coming. A long time. Shit, I'd say even 2013. TBob A-Bear, full-time Barstool.
Yeah,
moved to Chicago.
Go, dude. Let's go.
Here in the flesh. Man, it's I'm still getting used to seeing you around here every day, but I just smile every day when I see you, man. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I am, and we can. Is this? Are we good to say anything like cursing wise?
Yeah. Just
okay.
no rap music.
Okay. Well, I guess say anything. Yeah. Well done. But no, man, it's great to be back because the last time I was on Wake Up Mintzy was last spring.
Yeah, you came through here.
When I came up to Chicago for a week of work, unrelated to Barstool. And since you invited me on here, then I got to stick around for the day, and I got to do mostly sports.
You were on the Yak.
I went to the Yak and did the Gauntlet. So, you know, it's kind of funny how life works. But, yeah, that's probably a big portion of the reason why I was given this incredible opportunity to now come work at Barstool Sports, which has been fucking awesome.
Dude, it's so freaking awesome having you here. I mean, I just can't say enough. TBob and me have been buddies for 12 years now. And, huge following in Louisiana. Obviously, he started for LSU for 3 years on the team that made the 2011 National Championship. ESPN Baton Rouge for how long were you there? 8 years?
Yeah, I think I started ESPN Baton Rouge in right when I got out of college. I actually worked there, and I only did like Monday and Thursday night shows, and I was supposed to be selling ads, but I would just be lying and smoking weed and playing basketball all the time. And then I left and went to New Orleans for a few years, and I think I got back to the morning show in 2016. Is that when O took over as the interim coach, I believe? Yeah, it would have been into 16, beginning of 17. So I ended up being there 8 years.
And then you did the WWL night in NOLA for a few years. And
that was right before.
Yeah, but how wild were
before.
Those days? You would just do the show and then just go out at midnight? Like
8 to midnight, dude. 8 to midnight. That's a hell of a way to cut your teeth in radio. AM radio, 8 to midnight. A lot of times solo during the summer, too, because my co-host had been there forever, and he had like 2 months vacation built up, so he would take off in the summer. And, yeah, you want to learn how to bullshit? You want to learn how to host? That's a great way to do it. But, yeah, you'll appreciate this, Mintz. The freaks come out at night. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, dude, and especially in NOLA.
Yeah. So, like, the last hour of the show, we used to call it Midnight Madness, and it'd just be a bunch of tweaking or drunk people calling and talking about whatever the fuck they wanted. It was great.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. Well, big LSU news. Obviously, a huge LSU alum. 20 Omaha trips in 40 years. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
They make Omaha 50% of the freaking seasons. That's the damnedest stat. And then of the 19, they've won 7 national titles, which is crazy when you think that it's an 8-team field and you should all be on an even playing field. But the LSU Tigers punched their ticket, beat West Virginia 12-5 to sweep them in the Super Regional. I feel like there's an avalanche for Louisiana headed to Omaha, and the city of Omaha already celebrating because of all the money and booze and food.
Yeah, I mean, look, first off, credit to you, Mintzy, because I have tasted and felt the wonderful grip of that tight Ole Miss asshole of yours as Ole Miss finds himself out of the tournament, LSU into the Super Regionals once again. But I do not say this up purely to be an asshole. Why I bring this up is because you are the only person that I know that has highlighted how crazy that actually is 20 times in the last 40 years.
Insane.
Which you're right. Which you're absolutely correct on. There's
only 8 teams that make it out of 400.
Yes, it's objectively absurd. And it's something that I did not appreciate, certainly. I think it's something that a lot of people probably don't appreciate. And then even then, like you said, the 7. So yes, even though you have a tight little rebel asshole, that you're the only one that
we'll always have
correctly.
2022. That's the thing.
Yeah.
As bad as the Ole Miss thing was for years because all the choking in the tournament, won a title, kind of like the Saints Super Bowl. Like, now whatever happens, happens because it happened.
Well, and I don't know, dude. The Murray State's acquitting themselves quite well.
They have 13 losses in the regular season. They should have never been a 4 seed.
Yeah.
They won the Missouri Valley. So the Omaha 8 are decided. The one bracket is Coastal Carolina against Arizona Friday, 1 p.m., and Louisville, Oregon State, 6 p.m. I actually think Coastal's got a really good chance to make the championship game. They got 2 really good starters. And then you got the superpower heavyweight street fight, SEC, LSU, and Arkansas, 6 p.m. Saturday night, and UCLA against the Cinderella Murray State at 1. Really random field. You got LSU and Arkansas, no surprise there. Oregon State, ton of tradition. They hadn't been since 18, but they have 3 national championships. Louisville, really good program, 2010 to 19. It's fallen off lately, but not a shock. Yep. Coastal won it in 16.
LSU lost to that Coastal team.
Yeah, and the Baton Rouge.
I was covering that
Baton Rouge Super. Arizona, been no stranger to Omaha. And then the Murray thing. Dude, Murray, okay, we got to talk about this. Has never won an NCAA tournament game in the history of their school. Ever. And they make it to Omaha.
Damn.
And that team can freaking hit. And, man, I don't know how you can't pull for them. Last night, thrilling game. They were down 3-2 in the 7th. Their center fielder, who's hit about 1,000 home runs in the tourney, hit one to tie it. They hit another one in the 8th, and they pulled out a thriller 5-4. And only in America is what I said in my blog. I mean, Murray State, in this new era, too, where you know how hard it is for these G5 teams now? Because back in the day, you'd be like, okay, you have 7 seniors that have started 4 years together. Now, if you're any good on a G5 team, you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to me, it's even harder for the G5s to compete because you get outbid for your best players and you can't keep them on your roster.
So, I agree, but that's maybe where baseball becomes kind of attractive is I think it's even in the NIL era where you're right, like all these best players are going to, like their players will get snatched up after this year. The ones who are great in their underclass will get snatched up. But maybe it's just a function of how baseball works. It remains the one sport where the little dudes can legitimately compete with the big dudes. I mean, the lowest RPI team in the entire bracket, Little Rock, 243 RPI. A team that only made it because they randomly got hot in their conference tournament. They had LSU against the ropes.
Dude, they did.
They beat him badly to force a Monday game. They jump out to, I think it was
it's 5-1. It was 5-1 in the 4th.
Yes, they jump out to a 5-1 lead. Now LSU ended up coming back, but baseball's funny, man. It's the one sport, even in the NIL era, even with the crazy disparity of resources that the SEC and the ACC have over the rest of the country. It's the one sport in which everybody, I mean, look at the final 8. Look at the 8 you just named. For all this talk of SEC dominance, it's a wonderfully diverse field. I mean, Oregon State's still technically Pac-2?
Yeah.
I don't know what they are in baseball.
Yeah, but they're a power. They got 3.
No, they're a beast. They're beasts. Now, it's good to see them back. First time since 2018. But, I mean, you got Oregon State representing the Pac. UCLA is now, I guess, technically representing the Big Ten. Yeah. We got Louisville from the ACC. I don't know what Coastal's in. Is that Sun Belt?
Sun Belt.
We got the Sun Belt in there. Where'd you say Murray's
was? Missouri Valley. And shout out Missouri Valley because Oral Roberts made it as a 4 seed in 2023 out of that league, too. There's only been 4 seeds that have ever made the College World Series, and 2 are in the last 3 years out of Missouri Valley.
Arizona, classic Big 12 school, Arizona.
I know. It feels like Pac-12 actually dominating with Arizona, Oregon State, and UCLA.
I know.
That's
what's not anymore. Now it's the Big 10, the Pac-2, and the Big 12.
It's freaking crazy. So I'm on DraftKings Sportsbook. Odds to win the College World Series. Arkansas, the favorite, plus 195. LSU, plus 230. Coastal, 6-1. Oregon State, plus 650. UCLA, 8-1. Arizona, 14. Louisville, 17. And Murray is 50. I'll just say it. The winner of the LSU-Arkansas game is going to the national championship. The first game, too. Because they both, Zach Root will pitch for Arkansas. Cade Anderson will pitch for LSU. Whoever wins that, big driver's seat. Big. Loser's going to be up against it to fight out.
Yeah, who else is in the bracket with them?
UCLA and Murray State.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, look, I am diehard LSU through and through. I will be watching these games, like that is what LSU led me back to. Growing up as a kid, I loved baseball, loved the Braves, grew up in Atlanta, and then I fell away from it. And I kind of fell away from the sport in general for a very long time. And then when I got back to Baton Rouge, started doing radio, I started getting more and more into it. And so overall, it's been just a re-falling in love with the sport of baseball and how fun it can be. But that 23 championship run,
Dude,
gave me such an appreciation for something I'd never experienced except when I was a little kid, and so I'd kind of forgotten about it, which is high leverage baseball. Baseball where the
postseason
stakes
baseball.
are big, and every fucking pitch, it feels like your balls are in your throat. You feel like you got to throw up. Like, it leads me to drink because I almost cannot deal with the anxiety of every single pitch otherwise. It's so I cannot wait for this LSU Arkansas game because it's one of those games where everything that happens, good or bad, feels like it's just multiplied.
Yeah, it's just so magnified. But that's Saturday. And then, of course, LSU Arkansas gets the primetime Saturday night, 6 p.m. spot, as you'd expect with those two fan bases. Arkansas is actually Fayetteville, least convenient location of all time, but it's only 5.5 hours from Omaha, so they can drive, which is a big edge. But LSU will still have way
LSU's going to show up. I added up the other day. I was looking at the Rocco shot challenge from 23.
25,000 shots, right?
Yeah, and granted, LSU's not maybe the purest of records, as you had, rich businesses get involved from a marketing perspective, like Gordon came in and bought a ton to make the 8888, whatever. But I just added up the number of shots sold, and it was about $500,000 worth of Jello shots from all the schools combined, and it'll probably get broken this year.
Man, that's freaking crazy. I'll be out in Omaha for a few days. I'm going to the Barstool Classic there on Tuesday, so I'm looking to hit some midweek Monday for LSU's game too. I'll be out there whether they win or lose. Well, TBob, I want to get some other stuff with you. First of all, you mentioned, little known fact, you're from Atlanta because, everybody knows you and your dad for Louisiana.
Yeah.
But you actually grew up in Atlanta. What was that like?
Yeah, I was born in Louisiana. I just figured out the other day, actually, I had to get a new birth certificate. And I was born in Kenner. So fuck yeah, dude, I'm a Kenner, bro. But then my old man left the Saints with the Falcons when I was 4 years old, and so I ended up growing up. I say in Atlanta. It was Alpharetta, really. It's like an hour north of the city. Just pure suburbs kid, man. I had a very silver spoon upbringing. Never wanted for anything. I mean, again, it's a pretty. I try to be very cognizant of the privileges that I've been blessed with because I've been very lucky my entire life. It was great growing up in Atlanta, getting to go to like NFL games when I was younger and see the locker room. Then I get older, I start playing football. I get to like work out with like some of my dad's friends that played, and they're teaching me tips and techniques. And maybe it's because I played O-line, he played quarterback, but I never felt any like pressure to get out from under his shadow or anything. I'm very proudly his son. So no, it's I have had a very charmed existence, I would say.
I feel that. I have too, for sure. Your dad, so do you have any memories of your dad playing in the NFL from your childhood? Because I have memories from his Saints days because I'm older than you.
So I'm 36, so I was about 7 when he retired. So I have like vague snippets. Now, what I do have some perspective on, though, is when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, he had a lot of his games recorded on VHS tape. And I used to go back and watch the broadcasts, and I would like take notes on the stats and everything. So I have seen a ton of the Saints games, a ton of the Saints years in that way, but not necessarily firsthand memory.
Okay. I had fun memories with your dad, the Tecmo Super Bowl, the video game for your kids. I always play with the Saints because you had the Dome Patrol with Sam Mills, Vaughn Johnson, Ricky Jackson, and Pat Swilling. So I won a bunch of Super Bowls with your dad playing.
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, Super Tecmo Bowl was incredible. I used to play with, I played Super Tecmo Bowl, and I used to play with the Chargers, I believe it was, because they had a running back named Marion Butts. And
the Natron Butts? No, the Marion Butts. You're right.
The Marion Butts.
I was thinking
can't remember
Natron
what the first
means.
No, not Natron means. The Marion Butts. And when you would score a touchdown, it would either say, I think it would say like touchdown Butts. And I thought that was so fucking funny that I committed to playing entire seasons and just jacking up stats with Marion Butts.
That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
That Tecmo Super Bowl, one of the best games ever. Okay, so you played high school ball in Atlanta. Came time for college. I mean, I actually remember I was all nerdy into recruiting then.
Yep.
And, I mean, everyone knew you were going to LSU, but you were friends with Coach O, and he was at Ole Miss, so people were tracking it.
Yeah, they wrote Bruce Feldman followed me around the year and wrote a book called Meat Market, which was a huge breakdown of the recruiting process and how it works and how intense it could be. And in that book, he actually chronicles the story of me doing one-on-ones at a LSU camp or an Ole Miss camp, one or the other. And I actually did quite terrible. Drake Nevis, who I ended up being teammates with at LSU, beat my ass, and I started to cry. And it's all chronicled in the book. So who doesn't love having such a low moment writ large? But yeah, so I ended up going to LSU because my grandpa raised me diehard LSU.
I totally
understand. Namesake, Bobby Joe Faber Sr. I'm the third. I got a son who's the fourth. He was the man. And yeah, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere else.
The LSU years, because you started a lot for 3 years at center. From what was it, 10 to 12 or 09 to 11?
I started 9, 10, 11.
Okay, 9, 10, 11. The memories I have, I remember that Tennessee game when they had replayed the play.
That was 2010. Sorry, so I got distracted for a second. My brain's I swirled with all this move stuff. Yes, 2010, the Tennessee game. So it's funny. I used to get asked about what happened at the national championship every day of my life, right? Because I didn't play, and then my dad had an aggressive line of questionings in the post game, and it led to all these crazy rumors about like me staging a revolution, doing all this bullshit, whatever. None of that's true, but I don't really feel it. I've said this like a million times.
Water under the bridge.
But what's interesting is after LSU won that championship in 19, it was like a legitimate healing of the wound because almost nobody asked me about that anymore. And now it's all just about, if somebody comes and says something to me, it's all about like, thanks for snapping the ball against Tennessee or whatever, which is, I'll take it because it's rare that an O-lineman gets so much credit, but it was nothing more than just dumb luck that we won that game. But yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome. It was crazy.
That was nuts. So you always say that Honey Badger Matthew is the best teammate you've ever had.
Yeah.
Like what made what was
he was the best football player I've ever shared a locker room with. He had and now this is a word that I'm going to use that I feel unfortunately, thanks to recent slang developments, may not feel the same. But he had an aura about him. And I've always said this, so I'm not saying this because of the reason I'm talking about a legitimate, palpable aura. If we have any fans of the Wheel of Time, it's an old fantasy series. They used to talk about this character's Taverin is very strong. Basically, that reality almost sort of weaves itself around them. And that's what Tyrann Mathieu felt like. Like he had a gravitational pull on reality. He had a drive, a level of ambition, of leadership by example and leadership vocally that just absolutely blew me away. And I was a senior at the time that he was a sophomore, junior as a freshman, right? And he's true freshman, true sophomore, right? I'm a redshirt. So I was significantly older, and yet he was one of those guys that when he talked to everybody listened. So yes, I am so thankful. I imagine it's what like somebody feels like who must have fought under like a Julius Caesar or something. Like I am so grateful to be able to that I got lucky enough to spend time with a guy like that in a football locker room.
Favorite, all right, put you on the spot. Favorite LSU memories can be football or not.
Favorite LSU memory football wise would be beating Florida in Florida in 2010. The last year we had lost to them at home. We lost 14-3. The offense was a fucking joke. I played my worst game ever. I actually went to we had film, and then I went to piss in the urinal after film, and again I started crying. I was so sad. So the next year we go to Florida. We beat them with like a crazy fake field goal that got us a first down. Then we score a last-second fade touchdown FT-dub. And the first thing I did was go run out there and jump on that F with everything that I had because they had stomped on like the Tiger Eye the year before. So also the last time previous to that I was in the swamp, I got knocked the fuck out.
Okay.
I was on kick return and I got hit. And about 8 minutes left in the game, the next thing I know, I woke up and I was on I was on the 50-yard line with the Florida team on a knee.
Oh, wow.
And like that's when I came back, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out of here." But the point is, like, I had 2 years of real bitter resentment built up, and then we go beat him in the swamp, and we weren't supposed to. It was fucking awesome.
Okay, the LSU Florida, one of the most underrated rivalries ever. By the way, I mean they were the that was always the
nobody's ever going to care about it nationally, but it is crazy.
It's set up to be huge this year too because they're playing Week 3 Saturday in Death Valley, and both teams have playoff aspirations and SEC championship aspirations, and the loser at the end of Week 3 is in trouble.
I agree. You put to your credit, Mintzy, you're the one that pointed out the importance of that Florida game, and in terms of where it lands on the schedule, lends it even like a heightened level of importance.
Yeah, I think it's like set up where everybody's talking about the LSU losing the last 5 openers, obviously, but it's like a thing for college football fans. You wait all summer on the season and you hype it up so much that opener is just such a big thing because you're thinking about it for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so when you lose it, and you've had to deal with it doing radio, it's like so deflating.
It's the worst.
Yeah, but I could see a world where LSU Clemson, who's a playoff team with Kludnik back, playing at home. Like, I could see LSU,
yeah, bro, Clemson's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Klubnik's great. Those young receivers came online at the end of last year. Look how well they played Texas at the end of the year. They got multiple All-Americans in that front 7. It's going to be at home, at night, in Death Valley. LSU's lost 5 openers in a row. I'm sorry, I cannot pick LSU to win that game.
I could see a world where LSU loses close and then taking them like 15-1 to win the SEC.
Well, I mean,
they've had the same season under Kelly every year. They lose the opener, and then they win like 6 or 7 in a row. It's been the same season every year.
The weird part is, if Kelly could figure the opener out, his resume would be smiled upon because he's been 6-2, 2 of the 3 years in the SEC, which generally, if you look at LSU history, you go 6-2 and you're 10-2, which is playoffs. But because of the openers, all the math has been thrown off, and they keep finishing 9-3.
The Kelly thing era, I feel like I always see. I mean, LSU's got the craziest fan base ever. Everybody knows it, most passionate. I feel like they've given Kelly a little bit of a bad rep. I know. First year, beat Bama, won the SEC West. The second year is the one that's what might have been because you had an all-time offense, the Heisman winner, and 2 of the best receivers.
Yeah.
You had 2 of the best receivers in the NFL and then a left tackle that went number 4 to New England because the defense fell off, but still another good year. Last year was weird because going in, everybody thought like 8-4, probably a little bit of rebuilding, but then they started 6-1. And so everybody's hopes got up.
Yeah, the Ole Miss win.
Yeah, and so it kind of felt like last year everybody was all pissed when they had the bad stretch with A&M in Florida, but it was actually the year I thought we're going to have going in, like 8-4.
Yes, but everything is a function of expectations, to your point. And so when you look back and you go through the first half of that A&M game, LSU looks like a legitimate playoff team. Right, they had beaten Ole Miss. They had dominated Arkansas. They were dominating Texas A&M the first half of that game. And then they make the quarterback switch. Everything falls apart.
Yeah, didn't get right for that zone read.
And then you still would have made the playoffs had you beaten Florida, but then all of a sudden DJ Lagger. I mean, Florida last year ruined both LSU
and Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss's. Here we are. Look at us. 2 little Florida bitches ruined LSU and Ole Miss's playoff dreams last year, and they had no right doing so, and yet they did.
Yeah, I know, and they got a ton of momentum going into this year. The Florida, they got a tough schedule, but they've got a legit. Okay, look at this SEC going into this year. I think it's pretty open. I mean, Texas is going to be the big favorite because they made the SEC championship last year, and they've got a guy with Manning on his jersey playing. But I think Bama's falling off.
Big year for Bama to prove that they have it.
Georgia's still got the defense, but the offense is definitely taking a huge step back. Since Todd Monken went to the Ravens.
Yep.
They got questions. Tennessee, their quarterback situation. I mean, I think it's like extremely wide open.
And Tennessee's got a very easy schedule, though. Them and Mizzou have the easiest SEC schedules by far. Which is probably going to help them. I'm just saying that I agree with you that they're not going to be playoff good, but that'll help them on the road to 10 wins as they try to accomplish that goal. I think it's definitely wide open, or it feels the most wide open that it's been in a long time. And like you said, man, if Alabama can't, I mean, I guess it's Texas. Texas is the favorite, obviously.
Yeah, they're the favorite.
Clearly.
LSU, look, I'm saying it right now, and I'm not a homer. I'm saying it. LSU's 10-1 to win the SEC. I love it. I think this LSU team this year, they finally got the portal stuff figured out with the collective. They added friggin' a 350-pound nose tackle from Virginia Tech, Patrick Payton off the edge, defensive end from Florida State, 2 really good corners.
Yeah.
You got Whit Weeks coming back, Harold Perkins back for one more year, Nussmeier, second-year core, the receiving core with Barry Brown and Aaron Anderson, and Trades Green's a basketball.
They added Nick Anderson, too, from Oklahoma,
who was hurt all last year but had 10 touchdowns the year before. I don't know, man. I think this LSU team, this. What is it about the odd years in LSU football? It's like every other year, but it's like all y'all's best teams are the odd years.
Well, it's
03,
interesting.
07, 11, 19, 23 won the West.
If only 15 had held up their end of the bargain, it was like every 4 years we were making the natty there. No, I think 10-1 represents a strong value play because on paper they are without a doubt. Because Texas, the question on Texas is going to be Arch Manning, his first year. And even if he's awesome, a first year's quarterback is a first year quarterback. So like Garrett Nussmeier come back for his second year, everything you just mentioned on paper, I actually believe that just on a roster on paper standpoint, LSU should be the favorite. But you have questions about the coaching and are they going to get the most out of it? And, you know, you keep losing these openers and, well, can Matt House actually live up to that contract and have the defense be really good? So I think 10-1 is a very heady play there, Mintzy, that you're probably only going to take if you're a homer. But
I may go next level, and if LSU loses to Clemson, bang it at 15 or 20.
Yes.
Because I think it's going to go up to 15 or 20.
That's when we're getting the real sick value.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. But I think LSU is going to be super, super good this year. And I'm a believer. I really am. I just think I just really like. I think the defense is going to take a huge step forward. And the big thing is the running game, because the running game really hurt them last year, and they weren't balanced. And Nussmeier got in a lot of high leverage spots, returned the ball over.
Well, I mean, they were forcing him to do way too much last year. Nuss, that is. Like on 3rd and 1, they didn't even feel comfortable running the ball. They would always just like come up with some sort of screen or whatnot. So yes, I agree.
All right, Barstool wise, you're here.
Yeah.
You've been in Louisiana since 2016. You're moving to Chicago. Your family's coming to Chicago.
They're here. We're here.
The family's
we are
here
in the
Chicago.
rental. Yes, we are here in the rental right now.
I mean, such a big, it's one thing for me to move up here solo, but man, bringing the whole how's the vibes?
First I got to give a massive shout out to my wife. We've been together since we were 16 years old. She's incredible, and like most things in life, when you go through, and I don't want to be misconstrued here. When I say things like adverse or tough times, these are not truly adverse or tough times. These are times that are busy and complicated, but for a very happy and good reason, right? What I mean is, like, I've been given this incredible opportunity to join up here at Barstool, and I'm going to be making great money, and so these are all very, very great things. But it's been quite a deal moving from a house we lived in for 6 years, all 3 kids, packing it up,
leaving family,
selling the house while trying to look to buy a new one. My wife runs her own business. She's a wedding photographer. And so it's been, and she's been having to do the vast, vast majority of that while I focus on work. So it's inherently a pretty selfish move. And, we talked it over before, but I guess I just want to really shout out her because it's a bit of a grind right now, and none of it would be possible if she wasn't so gung-ho about doing this for the family. So she's kicking ass. But I mean, look, it's terribly exciting. You always dream about living in maybe like one of the premier cities at certain points in your lives, and then you think, okay, well, I'm past that. And that's where I was in Baton Rouge. And I would have been very happy in Baton Rouge. It just didn't work out necessarily. But, like, it's not to say that I guess what I'm trying to say is I think no matter what in life, it's about being content. And I was very content in Baton Rouge. But now that I am here in Chicago, I'm looking forward to experiencing fall again and what that feels like. I've forgotten, right? I'm looking forward to snow until I hate it. I know I will, but I'm not naive. But like for me, I've never lived anywhere in the winter. I'm still excited about it. I'm looking forward to funny things like my kids maybe playing hockey growing up.
Ooh, I could see that in their blood. I mean, I know y'all are football, but everybody's tough in your
like
family.
now having like an MLB thing. I'm gonna cheer for the Cubs. I've had some great times at Wrigley. Adopt the Blackhawks. Yeah. So I mean, the arts, right? Symphonies, plays. These are things that I love, and like nobody skips Chicago, and it truly is the American Constantinople, where East meets the West. And it's pretty crazy to think that I'm now getting paid to live here and just create. And like and credit to the culture that they've built here, because it is so creatively encouraging, where there are no, I'm so used to having to climb through red tape or try to do this or that to get anything done. And this is just, no, very much like during the little corporate onboard stuff that you do, which is very funny. I've never worked in a big enough job to do that stuff. There's a line where it's like, be yourself. That's who we hired. Right. And so they just encourage you to do your thing. And it's got my brain spinning with possibilities. So it's awesome.
Well, I've thought forever that you were one of the best fit Barstool people ever, because, I mean, you already have a good following, football, but then you also are a character, and this
like
is the
a lot
place
of
for it.
random shit. Yeah, exactly, right? Like I can lean into all of my nerdy loves that I love so much. I just did a bracket pod, which was very interesting.
Dude, the bracket's fun, man.
We just rank things that start with the letter C, and I don't know, man. It's, again, I think, and this all comes on the heels of a time where professionally I was kind of I was on a downswing. And so, during that downswing, my wife tried to continue to berate me into positivity, just really stay on my ass about staying positive, and talking to her parents, and her dad gave me some great advice about, like, look, in life, there's eras of feast and famine. And that is very true. And that doesn't mean to fear the next downturn, to me at least. What it means is, when you're in the good times and it's a good time, just be very cognizant and grateful and enjoy it. Because there's going to be some adversity and you'll find your way through it as well. And then, hopefully you'll swing back up eventually.
That's the total truth. That's what it's like up here too. Like, and I've lived it. The roller coaster I've had for 5 years here.
Yeah.
The highs and lows have been insane. But it's like there's been like a meme of it's like a roller coaster.
The domino. Oh, I thought I was going to say the domino meme.
Yeah, but it's like a roller coaster thing where it's like I build up to a high point, then I crash, then I slowly inch up for months, then I crash. But we're on a good one right now. 2025 has been freaking awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. Down 40 pounds?
Yeah, dude. 40, man. I freaking...
Unbelievable, dude.
5 months and 10 days. Freaking unreal. Getting under...
Mintzy checking in under 220.
218 this morning, boys.
Let's go,
The Let's Get Hot movement.
Let's go.
The realest thing. I'm trying to hold out here because I have a surprise for you in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got a surprise. I've been hyping up, but... It's supposed to be the next.
Okay, well, here, maybe we can fill time with this. Is my wife texted me, do you know what the best pizza in Oak Park is? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. So, Chicago-wise, and I'd love to hear Stooley's chime in on that, I am very guilty of being in this West Loop bubble because I live in West Loop and I work in West Loop and I travel a lot. So when I'm here, and I was like that.
Yeah.
When I was in New Orleans, I was in the Uptown bubble.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You live there and you never go to the Maroney or whatever, and I feel like I'm guilty of that. But I will say, man, I like the tavern style pizza in Chicago.
That seems to be, it's funny, almost to a man, I have heard no one really advocate too hard for deep dish, which is kind of what the world at large thinks of with Chicago, and almost everybody's talked about the tavern style pizza.
Well, you could eat the tavern style and not feel bloated, and like deep dish is very good, but if you eat it, your next 6 hours are cooked.
Yeah,
it's so heavy.
Yeah,
and so it's like a once or twice a year.
I mean, to be fair, when we filmed the State Farm Barstool Basketball League.
Check it out, by the way. Episode 1 came out yesterday.
Wait, is episode 2 out today? I can't remember. I'm going to go look after this and do some posts about it and whatnot. But, yeah, be on the lookout. Me and Mintzy, you might see us potentially teaming up. But
the Chicago thing, though.
Oh, but Sydney got some deep dish delivered to the office, and I had like 2 bites and was kind of like, okay, I think I'm just gonna chill for a minute. That's a lot. So I definitely understand maybe opting for the tavern style.
Yeah, the tavern you can eat and function, and there's a ton of good spots. I love Chicago, though, man. I did New York 2 years. I didn't love New York. Similarly to Chicago, you have great history, food, music, culture, sports, all that. Way cleaner city here, way cheaper cost of living. People are way more friendly.
It seems to be another common refrain amongst those who were at both spots.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, I've loved living here for a year and a half, but I love even more that you're here. And I know this is going on for a few months, but, you know.
Yeah, it was a long journey. It was a long, fraught journey. When we were hammering out contract stuff, I was, I don't know, just
when did you, how long?
Constantly paranoid that something was going to fall through. I think the original text that I sent Dan basically pitching myself.
Was it like before Super Bowl? Or
yeah, it was in like December.
Okay, because I know you hung out with him Super Bowl.
I think it was in like December or maybe January. Yeah, and then the Super Bowl was a step. I got to meet Dave and he kind of, maybe vetted me a little bit, sent him some content and whatnot. And yeah, man, then they took a shot on me. And I've wrote a blog about this, but I am going to try to do the most with the opportunity that I've been given. I do not take it. I do not take it lightly.
Oh, you're gonna crush it here, man! And I'm so happy to see more South representation.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah,
and
dude.
you, me, and Megan. I mean, like, you were great to Megan and me in Baton Rouge. Like, I mean, I say all the time, I can't say how grateful I am for you. Like, I mean, I was doing 4 years of sports radio in Shreveport, Bossier, and I would have been stuck there forever if I hadn't started going on OTB with y'all in 17.
Well, again, what goes around comes around, because then if you don't have me on Wake Up Mintzy last year, I never do Mostly. I never do the Yak, the Gauntlet, and I think those are things that really, really, really helped get me on the radar and make them consider me.
Well, yeah, your retweet, because Big Cat and Dave followed you, is how I got here, too. So it's like the most full circle thing of all time. And I don't know. It's just so great to freaking have you here. I'm about to give up on my surprise.
Wait, what was it? What was, because my ride, I got to go meet up with the kids.
Okay, yeah, no, we're about to give up.
Wait, what was the surprise?
I had Jordy Claudia coming on.
Oh, no, yeah. Jordy, what the fuck?
Jordy, he was supposed to be on at 4:15. We were going to have an OTB reunion in here. And
we can do another time.
We'll do another time, but he pushed it to 4:40, and he's stuck in traffic, and it's 4:48, and we're getting the hell out of here.
We'll do another time. I will say this. It was very, very nice. I had a little going-away get-together at in Baton Rouge, and Jordy hold on one second. And Jordy came by, and I had not seen Jordy in a while, and it was just great to see him, man. That's another guy who, he was the one that advocated for me and fought for me to get that morning show. Like, he saved me and got me out of doing 8 to midnight. So again, I think I'm just very gracious. We're filled with a lot of gratitude right now, and we're going to funnel that gratitude into trying to have fun and be funny and entertaining and attack this next chapter of life.
Let's do it. And hey, if you need to clean up messes, we got the product you need. Let it rip with Dude Wipes. One use of Dude Wipes will change your life. Amazon, Target, Walmart, all over the World Wide Web. My dad's a huge fan. I mean, literally, you can use it once. You're going to be like, I don't want dry, scratchy, crappy toilet paper ever again. Still pounding Stella Blue iced coffee at 5 p.m. Go figure. And, all right, we're going to get out of here. Be back tomorrow. Taping a big thing all day in the morning. I guess I don't want to spoil yet, but yeah, we'll be back. And then I'm really looking forward to Omaha. We'll have a big Omaha preview later in the week. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Hell yeah. TBob.